Good day! With this video lesson, we're going to solve a random math problem from the topic plane areas under your integral calculus. So our problem, find the area bounded by the curve y is equal to arc sine x is equal to 1, and y is equal to 5/2 on the first quadrant.
So in this problem, we're asked to find the area bounded by the curve, which is your y is equal to arc sine x, and which your x, which is equal to 1, and your y is equal to 5/2. And the curve was located in your first quadrant. If this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis, so we're going to consider here is your horizontal strips. So if this is your horizontal strips from your graph, so this will be your dy, and this part is your x. So applying the concept of the formula in of an area in a rectangle, going back to your geometry, so your area is equal to length multiplied by your width. Now, in this case, your length is your x and your width is your dy. Now, but before applying this concept, let's move forward to how we can get the value of your x, no? So, for example, so when your y is equal to 5/2, that's why we are considering this one as your horizontal distance, no? From, or I mean your vertical distance of this point from your x-axis. So that will be your y. So same, so it was parallel to your x-axis. So whatever your vertical distance from this point or from this line, no, to your x-axis, so that will be your y. Now, if we apply this value of y to your given function, which is your y is equal to arc sine x, so we can rewrite this one as 5/2 is equal to arc sine x. So we're going to apply the value of your y here, no, as your vertical distance from this line up to your x-axis. So we just simply substitute this value of y to your given function, which is your y is equal to arc sine x. So we can rewrite this one as 5/2 is equal to arc sine x. So the next thing is to do is to transfer this arc sine to the left side, no, of the equations. So it becomes sine pi/2 is equal to x now. So if we're going to compute this portion, no, so this part, if we input this one sine 5/2 or sine 90 in your calculator, so that will be equal to 1. So we can say that your x now is equal to 1. Because if we input this sine 5/2 in your calculator, so that will be equal to 1. So we can simply conclude that your x is equal to 1 now. Now, applying the concept of the area, your area now is simply equal to, and we're dealing with the irregular curves. That's why we're applying the concept of your integral calculus now. No, not just only the concept of this length times width, but we need to put your lower and upper limit because we're dealing with an irregular curve here. Now, what will be your lower and upper limit? So by consideration, that will be the integral. So we're going to consider your dy here. So we simply put a value of y as your lower and upper limit. So we start from here, from 0. So that will be 0 to 5 over 2. So that will be the highest point, no? That we that we are considering in your graph. So that will be 0 to 5 over 2. So now let's apply this concept, your length times width. So that will be equal to x dy now, because that will be your length and this is your width. Then your limit is 0 from 0 to 5 over 2. Now, if your y is equal to arc sine x, so how can we simplify this one? No? So what will be the value now? What will be the value of this one? Or what is the value of x in terms of y? So we can rewrite this one, this portion or your given function by simply your x is equal to what? So that will be equal to sine y. So we can simply substitute to this one. So that will be equal to pi over 2. And this will be your 0. So your sine y dy. So we need to put here your dy. So this portion now will be equal to 0 to 5 over 2 sine y dy. So for us to simplify this one, so that will be equal to, so your a now will be equal to the integral of your sine y. So what will be the integral of your sine y? So that will be equal to negative cosine y. Then we apply your lower and upper limit, which is 0 and 5 over 2. Now, let's apply. So, your a now is equal to negative. So, we're going to factor out your negative sign here. So, that will be cosine 5 over 2 minus. So, we apply your upper limit here, then minus once we apply your lower limit. So that will be cosine 0. So for us to simplify this one, so this will be equal to, your area now is equal to negative. So if we input this cosine phi over 2 in your calculator, so that will be equal to 0. Minus cosine 0, your cosine 0 in your calculator will be equal to 1. Now, for us to simplify this one, this negative will be distributed or will be multiplied to your negative 1 here. So, negative multiplied by negative. So, our resulting value for that is equal to positive 1. So, therefore, our area for this uh, problem will be equal to 1 square unit. So our final answer now is equal to 1 square unit. So,
So thanks for watching. If you want to like, comment, share, and subscribe, please do so.